Holistic careers are built on the centers of being curious about what you love, understanding and knowing what you're good at, what you're great at. And a holistic career that I advocate for is what brings the value and what can lead to a profitable path. Because, yes, I talk about where the money resides. I am an advocate for career wellness. So I wanted to jump on. You see the title, you don't have to have all the answers. There's a few key three things I want to jump on here and discuss. I think this will do us all well to set the mental, if you will, and not get caught up in the noise. Let's be honest, that's very easy to do. It's a little noisy because people are waking up from Christmas, eggnog and all the things, New Year's resolutions, and people are affirming and resolutions and vision boards and planning strategies. And to be clear, I'm all for it. But there's a bit of anxiety and angst that when the landscape is set on polish, perfect. And let's talk about it. AI makes it it enhances it because it's never been as accessible as it is now to pump out content rhetoric at your fingertips. I mean, we are in an explosive era that can absolutely serve you, your career, your platform well if you leverage it. However, the byproducts of comparison and the race element over this is your marathon, that needs to be talked about and it needs to be revisited as we approach our next and best. For those of you tapping in, I'm Dre. I'm a career strategist. I work with those exiting corporate and looking to define a new path of work in the entrepreneurship arena. Those I serve, they're no stranger to success. They got it in corporate, but they just understand that mountaintop that they are at is just not serving their life well. So I'm all about making the business fit the life and not your life fit into business, if y'all with me. So let's talk about this buzzword clarity. Let's get into clarity. Clarity isn't about having everything figured out or making it perfect. Today, I want to walk you through three things that I find pivotal, specifically in my wheelhouse of career advancement and just career and work life harmony rhythm. I want to talk about boundaries first, because sometimes if you don't know your yes, you know your no, right? Y'all with me? Let me repeat that for those in the back. For those catching it live or watching a replay, sometimes you might not know your yes, but you definitely know you know your no's. You understand this is not it. This is no longer serving. This can't be what I worked for. That is okay. It is okay to change direction, to change course. Actually, it's healthy. I want to talk about boundaries. I want to talk about finding your tribe, your five. And I want to talk about how you can remind yourself when everybody's advocating for having a plan, having a strategy, including me, because it's important. But there's a foundation that needs to be addressed. And let me just say, a curious mind is a healthy mind. A curious mind is a healthy mind. That's why I'm an advocate for lifelong learners, is what we call them. Holistic careers are built on the centers of being curious about what you love, understanding and knowing what you're good at, what you're great at. And a holistic career that I advocate for is what brings the value and what can lead to a profitable path. Because, yes, I talk about where the money resides. And one thing that I've learned in my community, in my upbringing, is that we didn't talk about salaries and monies outside of an hourly wage. And sometimes you don't know what these conversations when you were a child do to your scope of reasoning as an adult. Y'all with me? Let me know in the chat or let me know in the comments. Are y'all with me? You don't understand until you're at the crossroads and you're looking back. How did I get here? It's not the success that's a problem. It's that version of success doesn't work for the version of who you are. And what got you here is not meant to take you there. So holistic career, and I will say stagnation, that's the real competition. stagnation. But when we address that and we start looking to the left and to the right and looking to who's doing this event or looking to who's promoting this platform or who has the most followers, OMG, gosh, you feel the fear, acknowledge the fear, but we're going to take the right steps anyway. It's okay to not know what you want. It's absolutely okay. When I talk about clarity and I mentioned not having all the answers and what you're ready or looking to say yes to, whether that is changing your career, it can even be looking at things that professionally develop you, an investment vehicle, whatever that looks like. And you're just in that state of, I don't know what's going on. Start with what is not going to work for you. I'll give you an example. When my corporate tenure came to an end, not on my terms, but definitely on his will, not on my terms, but definitely in God's will, I knew that I didn't want to spend 40 hours a week in another corporate setting. I knew based on my tenure as an entrepreneur, 2 decades prior to going to corporate, for those of you that are new to me, welcome in. So my 2 decades prior to corporate, when the time was up, it was up because I understood the value past my six-figure salary. And it clicked. What I thought when I left entrepreneurship, I wanted, after spending successful years in it, I realized where my roots needed to be firm and planted. Now, does that mean I had it all figured out when my corporate tenure ended? Absolutely not. Remember what I said, a curious mind is a healthy mind. I wondered what entrepreneurship would look like post-corporate as now a middle-aged woman, because I sure knew what it looked like and experienced success as a young woman with young children. I'm in a different life stage. Back to the first thing I want to talk about when you're not sure what's going on and what to say yes to and how do I plan out 2026. And start with what's not going to work. Get clear on what's your big picture. Start in 3 years, I want to be living like this, whether it be city, whether it be in proximity to a certain group of people. We can put a revenue goal to that. Encourage the people I coach to absolutely stretch themselves because I like to set the goal. But that's my thing. And my thing may not work for anybody. Some people, they don't even care. They've made the money. Let's be real. They've made the money. So money is not the conversation we're having. I meet people where they are. They no longer will sacrifice what is good for them for a corporate setting. It's a reverse engineer. Some people leave entrepreneurship to go in a structured setting because the waves of entrepreneurship, and let's be real for my entrepreneurs, we got to tell that side, that backside of the story. Some people leave entrepreneurship to go to a more structured setting, even if it's just for a tenure, and that's good. That's good for them. My specialty is helping people exit corporate to entrepreneurship, but there is no shame in saying, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and go grab this six-figure salary and this 401k and these medical benefits and that dental plan. Am I tripping or am I tripping? I got some people on here that I know understand what I'm talking about. Okay. Number two, when you are just like, it's too much noise and you're just trying to find some clarity. Number two, this is the one. This was my saving grace. So I want to share this with you all if you allow me. I enjoyed six-figure success as an entrepreneur and a corporate professional. But my next stretch goal was to be or is to be a seven-figure entrepreneur. Because it's not about the money for me. The money is the byproduct. The money is the byproduct. A multi-seven-figure success story for me means that I will be a generational breakthrougher. I will have created generational wealth for my children's children. You see the root of that? So seven figures sounds cute, and that's hashtagable. It's hashtagable. But if you get me on a rant, we're going to talk about what that seven figure means for me. So that's the stretch goals. The number two here I want to give you when you're searching for your yes is what I did is I found people that were already doing what I aspire to do. Come on now. It's simple, but it's profound. And I'm not saying I'm trying to copy anybody, but there's a humility factor in understanding the power of proximity. That's why people go to church. That's why people go to certain establishments, association. I wanted to surround myself with the people that were successful, yet transparent on what the plight to building a seven-figure agency looks like. And I've done that. I'm in seven-figure masterminds right now. I've invested in that. So that's number two. And I would say on a tactical side, find 5 people that are already doing what you want to do. So we talked about setting the boundaries, defining your no's when you're not sure what your yes looks like. Y'all with me? That's one. Number two was find your top 5, because I'm telling you, when you find people that are doing what you want to do, let me tell you what you're going to save. You're going to save your resources. And if you're middle aged like me, you don't have time to play or waste with. So you're going to save time, you're going to save money, and you're going to save headache. Now, how can I say you're going to save money? And I just said that I'm investing in multiple $1,000s in my education, because listen to the mentality investment. And what happens when you invest? What is the expectation, shall I say, when you invest in the right things at the right time? It's an ROI. Oh, I'm going to get a return on my investment. I'm not looking to duplicate anybody's blueprint, because I am the blueprint by design. I'm created in his image. Well, yeah, it's Bible here. So that's the second point. Find your tribe. Find your tribe. Now, look, this is an impromptu live. I do like to be a little bit more structured, but this was on my heart. This is on my spirit. I got to share a story with y'all yesterday. The Holy Spirit just said, whoosh on your girl. Just touched your girl. But curiosity, a curious mind is a healthy mind. We're talking about building a holistic career and understanding how to find clarity when you really don't know what your yes and what things are shifting so fast, you really don't know what the next is. The third thing I want to say is tally up your wins. Don't wait for anybody to pat you on the back. And particularly, this is something I advocate for with the clients I serve, because in corporate, you're going to get the tangible pat on the backs in the form of raises, good reviews, promotions, relocations, all of that, benefits, bonuses. When you transition to entrepreneurship or operate in an entrepreneurial capacity, it can be very lonely in that transition. I talked about life after corporate. That's my wheelhouse. And I'll try to drop a couple of the posts that I shared on that, because there's so many emotions to unravel. But the thing here in documenting your wins as an entrepreneur, or getting in the habit, even if you are not an entrepreneur, let me say that, getting in the habit of being able to document your wins, because when you do that, it becomes conversational, and that's how you advocate your authority naturally. It starts to present itself in an authentic manner to where it's not forced. Y'all with me? You see on social media, I'm an expert at this. I'm a 3X best-selling author, right? And I'm not knocking that, because you heard me in the beginning. I have achieved 6-figure year-over-year success as an entrepreneur and corporate professional. And I say that to say, because that's my life story. It's not a brag unless you're standing in a posture of offense. It's my life, but it's a win. It's a win because I'm the first in my family to do it. When you document your wins, you're listing what's already working, and that creates momentum, if you will, for what's next. Because if you, and I'm gonna raise my hand to this, shiny object syndrome is real. And if you're not planning on, wait a minute, this works for me. This works for me. If you're not planted in your rhythm, if you're not attached to your base, you're gonna get pulled away. And then that's where the chaos comes in. Those are the 3 things I wanted to share with you all was, but if you don't know your yeses, go with your boundaries first. Start with the no's. Second thing is find your top 5. Find people already in your space or where you desire to be in 3 to 5 years, and start watching. That doesn't mean you have to sign up for a mastermind or get in there, but I encourage you. There's a lot of experts on YouTube. There's experts here on Substack. I encourage you to tap into the power of proximity. And number 3, document your wins. Understand your toolkit. Understand the power that you have, because nobody can take that from you. They can take the title, but they can't take your toolkit. Your corporate currency goes with you, and you can transfer that into whatever you see fit. And let me share to y'all what happened yesterday. So I'm holding a summer women's retreat, and it's going to be an intimate luxe day and a half event here in my hometown, Dallas, Texas. So yesterday, now this is January, this is a summer retreat, but the early bird truly gets the worm. Yesterday, I'm touring the venues, and the first one I went to, I said, this is it. This is it. Now I had about 5 prospects. Tour was good. It just fit. It hit all the check marks. And I had a couple people already respond with requests for proposals and stuff in my email. And I said, you know what? It just feels reckless. It just feels reckless to just make a decision after only looking at one. It just felt reckless. So I looked at the next location, and I said, wait a minute. I was 13 minutes away now. This is the message. I need y'all to stay with me here. I was going to go home after the first one because I was like, this the one. This is it. The ladies that are flying in, this is our space. We're going to have breakthrough here. But I looked at the GPS and I said, you know what? Calendar was clear for the rest of the afternoon. I'm going to go ahead and check out number 2. My people, my ladies on the tapping in live, my people watching the replay. I wanted to go home. The nagging, because this is what we got to understand. The gut is data. The gut is data. I go to the second venue unannounced. The first one was scheduled. The second one, I just wanted to get some eyes on it. Beautiful. I just knew, I'm like, this might not hit the budget. So I looked for the lead event planner. She was in a meeting. She gave me about 15 minutes. So I did some things. And she come out and she looked, I guess nobody really appreciates a pop-up, but hey, if it's your job, it's your job. If you're busy, you just say that. So she looked a little tight, but she warmed up because I'm like, I'm the type, I'm not going to let your energy change my energy. She came out, we went over the email that she sent, and she said something. She said, well, the rates I sent you were a little bit inflated because of, y'all check this. Now, I had a date that I had already communicated to all vendors, project manager, photographer, caterer. She said, but you know, the World Cup is the same week of your event. I hope y'all catching this tea. She said, the World Cup. I said, wait a minute. Now, my husband is a coach, so I know how big the Super Bowl is. But I said, wait a minute. The World Cup, FIFA? And the local news had been talking about this for the, past few seasons. I said, that's bigger than the Super Bowl. I said, oh no. I got in my car. I said, thank you, Lord. Because I was sent. I was pulled to the second location, not to consider them for my venue. I was divinely pulled to get the information I needed because God was laying out the plan for me to have a great event. He gave me information that I needed that would have been chaotic because I'm going to give you the context. The World Cup in Dallas, Texas is going to have all service professionals, all hotel rates. The airport's going to be crazy. And I would have been competing to get the necessary support and putting my attendees in undue. It would have just been no. So I got home, new date, everything's good. But the reason I say that, and I'm going to end on this note, the reason that's important to me, and now I know, is for one, I didn't want to do something, but something in my gut told me to go ahead and just check it out. The reason why that was important, when you listen to things that internally you don't want to do mentally, but there's a heart and a gut pull to say, you know what, I'm going to do something that is uncomfortable. Now, I made a commitment at the top of this year to do some daily. This is my piece of this is business strategy for me. I do daily biblical reading without going too deep into the word that I received. It relates to the story I just shared with you all. This plan that I'm on is supposed to have me finish the version of the Bible by the end of the year. A lot of people do this at the top of the year, and I joined the party. This is just part of my daily. I read all the time, so the Bible is part of that. And it was in a story of, it was Noah. Noah, the great flood happened, and he was checking. He unleashed a dove, I believe, to check and see if there was some land there. And the dove came back on the first time with an olive branch. Now, I'm no biblical scholar, so bear with me. That's the beauty of the Bible. Bear with me in my interpretation. But the takeaway and the connection to what I've shared today in this live is that the dove came back with the olive branch, which signified land was nearby. So then Noah was like, okay, I'm going to send it back. And it never returned. Oh, I just shared with you. Noah got the signal, the clear confirmation that land was close with the olive branch. And you still get that indecisiveness, that anxiety. So he sent for a second signal and it never came. And he proceeded on. For those of you that know the Bible, the rest is absolute history. There was land there after the great flood, and he went on to procreate. And then we have the rest of the biblical theme. What I'm saying is, when you're looking for answers, you're not going to, when you're looking for clarity, you're not supposed to have all the answers, particularly those of you that are considering entrepreneurship. It's impossible. And that's okay. So I teach exit strategies, not because I don't have faith, but because I know it's going to be okay either way. I teach corporate exit strategies for those that are looking to enter the land of entrepreneurship, the beautiful, scary land of entrepreneurship. I teach exit strategies not as an escape, but as a roadmap to building a business that fits the life you want. It's that simple. We don't have to overcomplicate it. So as I close here today, I appreciate you all tapping in. I pray that your 2026 is going to give you all that you desire. And that the main thing is, as those of us that are scrolling through our feeds and seeing the vision, the strategy, planning, the clarity, and all the things, that it's not about having everything figured out or making it perfect. When did we get so polished? Is AI making us so that everything needs to be polished? Because I'm gonna tell you, AI is garbage in, garbage out. I'm gonna be real. And I'm gonna start talking more about that here on Substack. I utilize probably 30 AI tools for my business, and I'm probably under, it's probably more than that. But I desire never to lose Drea. I am at heart an entrepreneur, a people service professional. I have a colorful background, and I want to keep that element of me on my journey to encourage others to tap into their uniqueness, their unique value, and their position state on whatever they desire to be. That's what I have. I'm all about a holistic career, and I want us to just make sure that you keep the business of you front and center. I appreciate you all tapping in live. If you caught the replay, make sure to let me know what landed for you today. And I will be sure to try to jump back in with more. Substack is making it very easy for us to connect. And I really appreciate that platform for that. Remember, stagnation is the only real competition here. And a curious mind is a healthy mind. All right, y'all make your next move your best move. Be blessed.